names for sure.
Although, I'll be honest, the setup is very different to how we used to cast.
It used to be in our bedroom stress when we were just in different parts of the UK. But yes, Azia, Tam Kench, and Jax will be the first couple of bands coming out. Damajka and Damonko, two of the names that I do recognize from back in the days of Star Ladder, where these teams do hail from. Dr. Mundo will be the following band coming in from that CIS team. We're just waiting on the last band, which will be Lulu, coming in from the Latin American All-Stars.
Old school, so locking down any kind of, attempt at one Cogmore comp that we saw earlier. I think it was Yamato that was talking about perhaps pairing those two together again. So not going to be an option here. What's available? Elise is up. That has been high priority. Kindred now banned away means Callista is up. We've also got the Rek'Sai that is up, and hell, Soraka's up as well if people really want to go for that. I'm waiting. I want to be proved internally wrong by a good Soraka play.
Well, 2 out of the 3 games have featured a Soraka in bans or picks so far in those bans. Waiting on that first pick, what will be the priority? Because we saw the priority being Rek'Sai in the last game. Yeah. And that threw me through a bit of a loop when there's so much available.
Misfortune's up as well. That was one of the other first picks that we have seen. Yeah. So there are a lot of strong picks on 5.22. Expecting to see some Aurelia. We've seen a lot of Shen that is available as well. Honestly, this is kind of one of those kind of reach in and pull a mystery champion out, and that is not a champion I was expecting to be first picked. Alistair in the support role as the first pick is something that is completely not first pick priority in my mind. Yeah. I mean, it's great as an engage tool, it's great as a tank-based support, but the game has started to move a little bit away from that. We've started to see, a lot of priority on other support champions, and I don't know.
I don't know.
Difficult to kill, though. That is one thing. With the changes to Last Whisper, difficult to kill.
Yeah, very true. I do want to see what the first 2 picks are from the Star team, which Graves is currently being hovered. Would love to see some Graves and cast some of that. End of the line does some pretty crazy damage. If you step near a wall or any piece of terrain, you are going to lose most of your health bar. Elise is also being hovered over, as you mentioned, was that pick that has been prioritized so much during the day so far. And those will indeed be the first 2 picks. Now, we are seeing Graves, not just in the AD carry role.
No, we've seen him in jungle in a lot of solo queue games, but I think it was in the HCC Ascension tournament. Saw Graves up in the top lane. And I think we've seen it in a couple of Chinese tournaments as well. So there's been a lot of different spots. I actually think AD carry may be one of his least favorable roles, just because of how the passive works with the shotgun shells that can't pass through minions. So it makes last hitting very difficult because you have to push forward, and especially into a champion like Alistair, the short attack range plus stepping forward means we shouldn't see Graves in the AD carry role.
Yeah, he gets outranged by every other AD carry, and Alistair can literally just headbutt him away and you're never going to get to CS. So, waiting on the next 2 picks coming in from the Latin America team. Just depends where they want to sit. Vayne has been locked in for certain, and the Evelyn once again, so we're seeing that coming out onto the Rift. And Vayne, there is this new build where you go for the rapid fire cannon and the static shift, and it is absolutely mental. It gives you the extra range and the crit, and you literally just max over bolts and you just shoot people and they die. And yeah. That's pretty much it.
We'll see if we see that. I hope we do.
I'm so hyped.
Honestly, how does that build affect Vayne when it comes to... Normally she's a very late game champion, need good few items. Is that kind of the spike when you get those
spike at 2 items.
Okay, that's interesting. I wonder how that interaction is going to go now, because she has a lot of peel on this with the Alistair and the flank potential to start a fight from the Evelyn setup here already for the... Latam team. Oh yes, I'm so happy to see a Brand, because this is one of the champions where some of the mastery changes are insanely good on. Brand has enough burn as it is on his passive, then you take Deathfire Touch, and you take a Corrupting Potion. It means that you end up burning your opponent for about 8 seconds after an ability hits. It's
Yo, dog,
insane.
I heard you like dots. Let's have some dots with your dots, and that's Brand.
Support.
It could be support, and probably will be support, actually, looking at this lineup. And Brand support is so infuriating to play against, because if you don't have extra movement speed, if you don't have that from like masteries, or you don't have that from from boots, then you pretty much can't dodge a well-placed Pillar of Flame. You are going to take damage, and you are going to take a lot of it. I wonder what he's going to start as well. Will he just go straight for the Corrupting Potion?
I mean, from the support role, I don't think so. I think that's a little, well, far too risky, if I'm being honest. That basically says I'm going to win the lane at level 1, and you're going to have to take heal, and you're going to use all of your mana, and I hope that's enough to control the lane from there, because Vayne and Alistar are just going to kind of end up next to each other. So I don't think you do that, Pulse, if I'm being quite honest.
I mean, you say you wouldn't do that, but I would.
You would.
Riven has been locked in, ladies and gentlemen. That makes me and Pastry Time very happy as two dedicated Riven mains. And Rumble has also been locked in. So I want to see what Star do to respond to this one. They are hovering over. The Croc has been very good, as Marin has brought that into the fray. But going to talk more about the Riven and Rumble. Where are they going to slot? Because both of them can literally go top or mid.
I mean, it's Riven likely into Kassadin right now.
Yeah.
That's the matchup I would assume, which in the laning phase, Kassadin tends not to struggle anymore in the laning phase, but if you put an AD carry, an AD champion like Riven in the middle lane who can get on top of the Kassadin in the laning phase, punish him for his shield only being magic damage, that is a potential matchup that could snowball away from them. And if Fiora gets picked up, that's actually, I mean, I would still expect the Riven to go mid, but that's another matchup that the Riven is favorable one for. So if we end up in a crazy lane swap scenario, that's two potential good matchups for the Latam team.
I mean, the Fiora Riven matchup is very fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's very much a skill matchup. I think Riven has a small edge, but you look at Fiora and it's literally just timing the riposte with any of the 2 CCs that Riven has. And that is basically that matchup. Everyone's going to swap around, so we're going to see which player is going to pick what. But Saya looks like he's going to be picking the Riven for now. They have until around 20 seconds before they can fully lock in their picks, but these are two exciting comps to watch.
And it's Graves AD carry. Ooh, again, into an Alistar. I feel like it's already difficult enough not to disrespect the Alistar Flash Pulverize coming out. I guess the brand does now allow them to harass from a significant amount of range, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But both teams, very short range, a clear focus on the top side of the map from the Latam team onto enclosed space team fights. You look at a Riven, you look at a Rumble, they want to fight in very small areas where you can get maximum damage coming from your abilities with an Evelynn flank. On the other side, for the Star Ladder team, you got Fiora looking to duel, looking to 1v1 for as long as possible, and a Kassadin that, in theory, could get out of control pretty quickly.
But there's a lot of champions in this game that can get out of control.
Yes.
The Graves, for one. Vayne as well will snowball out of control. She gets a couple kills. Riven is literally the queen of doing so, at least in solo queue. Kassadin, as you mentioned. Fiora, we've seen that multiple times in World, and even Rumble to some extent. You'll get those 2 items, those 2 spell pen items, and you just go to town. So we're going to see an extremely explosive mid game. I really want to keep my eye on the bot lane as well. There's just too much to watch. I just need more monitors, more eyes, more everything.
More everything. I mean, we did start seeing brand support. It was tried at Worlds. I think it was IG, perhaps? Reaching back into my memory, it was one of the LPL teams pulling that out. And it was okay. It wasn't amazing. Typically does well against champions like Tahm Kench, who you want to burn through a lot of their health and don't have the sustain. Against Alistar, you're going to force out a lot of heals from the Alistar, so that is one thing to keep track of.
Well, we are about to get into this game. It will be the Latin American All-Stars versus CIS All-Stars, hailing from that Star League. Which team is going to come out superior here? Latam looked very good earlier on, as we saw them in one of our earlier games. And this is the first we're seeing from CIS. What do they have to offer? Well, Kira has not written any names in this Death Note so far, so we're actually going to have a 5 versus 5.
I mean, that's just kind of cheating.
Is it really?
I mean, that's like, to be honest, you know when you watch anime and stuff like that, and that's like the final move, because you don't want to use that right at the beginning, otherwise there's no point in doing the anime, like the whole show. You know, that's why they had to charge up on Dragon Ball Z. But nevertheless, like maybe we'll get to that point if the Star Ladder teams start falling behind. But one thing that we were discussing earlier, actually during the first Latam match, that we were in the cast room just talking about the way that Thiak builds on Evelynn. Or at least Evelynn builds in general, and the way that an early corrupt Hunter's Potion came out, that's not going to get annoying. Early Hunter's Potion came out just to sustain around the jungle and look to counter gank and gank efficiently. I wonder whether we'll see that again in this game from Thiak.
I just realized that was a conversation we were having.
That's what I mean. That's why I said it was a
Yeah.
conversation we were having. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that it plays now into this, and I'll give you a lot of the credit for it, Pulse. It was, you know, you were bringing up the thinking, so there we go.
I was looking at you and like we were having this conversation. I was like, was that spawn or something? I guess it was. That was really smart. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was you, Pulse. You were talking about that. I was
stuff.
just listening. I figured I'd try and kind of set you up for that one, and you're just like,
Went
oh, wait,
right
that was
over my
me.
head.
Man, I said something smart for once.
Yeah, unreal. Was not expecting that to happen. Mid lane, it's going to be that Riven versus Caster matchup. So as you mentioned in Champion Select, the Magic Shield not going to help you too much against Riven, who deals pure physical. Has gone for the Triple Pot and Longsword, and the Hunter's Potion has already been picked up. So once again, Fayek has gone for that item build. And as you mentioned, it looks like he'll be going for those heavier ganks. And the first game, it looked like he was literally just trying to snowball that Jax. There is no snowball Jax in this game, but there is a Riven.
Yes.
So I want to see how many times he goes into that mid lane now with the Hunter's Potion.
Yeah, there is a Riven that is pretty much a key thing. But against a Kassadin, if you don't kill him before 6, you're not going to kill him in that matchup. There's not enough crowd control and burst to actually shred him down once he gets Rift Walk available. So they're going to have to make use of that fairly soon. For people that maybe aren't as familiar with the Hunter's Potion, every time you kill a large monster, it will regain a stack. So it is a refillable potion just by jungling.
Yeah, super refillable.
Yeah.
Will keep you sustained literally for all of your jungling needs. Magicka looking for a gank into the bottom lane on Elise. Lex heading forwards, has kind of given up the game just a little. White Lotus put some damage on to the Elise. Demonco gets the stun off onto Arcee. But Lex is there, just trying to farm away, just giving an extra bit of breathing room to the Graves, allowing him to get some of that CS. And actually right now he is slightly ahead in that measurement.
Yeah.
Heading into this bush, places down the ward. I actually don't know if that would have spotted Evelyn. I'm going to go with no, since he's staying around.
Great knocker.
The flash into the combo. And that would be the flash coming in from Brand, looking for the flash from Lex as well. Has already popped the heal, turns around, blasts them with the auto attacks. And Demonco will head back into this bush. Actually going to hold for a second. I did not see that ward go down, I don't think. Lex will take the damage coming in from the Silver Bolt. The blast back with the Condemn as well. Damashko was thinking of going for a gank, but that has now been warded up in that bottom bush, so we'll be heading back into his jungle. A lot of action in the bottom lane so far, but the minion count has just evened up just a little in the bottom.
I'll say in that little engage, I mean, brilliant knockup. That's what this Graves Brand lane is going to struggle against. The distance, the spacing in the lane is so difficult against an Alistar, but now his flash is not available. So that means that that's not going to happen again anytime soon. Double laning mid lane as Damashka's like, well, you're a Riven, I need to get my Kassadin to 6, I'm just going to sit here. I like it, just get Kassadin through safely, allow the recall. Very interestingly, and obviously against the Riven you want to take Exhaust in general. No teleport on Kassadin. A big departure. And this is, again, you cannot let that laning phase snowball away from you because of the presence of Rift Herald. If a Riven all-ins and gets the kill, teleport's going to be nice just to get around the map, but the Rift Herald onto a mid laner or a top laner is just too much to actually deal with.
It's such a big deal because the local goals you get from towers now is so massive. If you take that tower before your opponent, before they can get that down themselves, it's so much. It's like getting almost a double kill. Actually, more than a double kill. And that's, it's difficult. But bottom lane, once again, Lex is actually holding his own despite the short range of Graves. As his mini-wave resolves, though, White Lotus will have a slight advantage. Back in the middle lane, putting down a bit of damage onto Kira. He's not going to pick up the kill. Just trying to give Saya a little bit of help. But this Riven matchup in the middle lane is essentially even. Has the level 6 advantage and he's going to capitalize on it. Trying to get in with the combo. Didn't quite get the execute combo off. Waited just until the exhaust had gone down so he could use the Wind Slash. One more spell, one more auto. That would have been enough, but that will send Kira packing for now and force Elise into mid lane.
And again, if that wasn't the exhaust, that was a kill.
Yes.
100% kill in that situation. So again, we're moving back to a metagame where summoners are more important than just teleport. So I'm happy to see that, as it does allow for a little bit more exciting play in the lanes. And speaking of the lanes, top lane that we are looking at, Smurf is doing a good job. He is ahead of the Rumble, but Alior's time to shine is not this early on in the game. You need to wait until he's got at least some extra Magic Pen, look for the teleport plays with the Equalizer. That is when the Latam team are going to want to fight. And at this point, they're just waiting out the game.
Yeah, not a lot has happened in that top lane, honestly. This has been a lot of farming. Smurf is pulling ahead in CS, just ever so slightly, but neither of those top lanes have gone back yet. Helio hasn't even felt pressure enough that he's had to pop a second potion. And Smurf will finally be going back to base. Actually, Helio's going to get a fair chunk of damage onto this turret while Smurf goes back. He has to teleport. I do wonder when he's going to use that teleport to go back up. White Lotus taking punishment from Lex, but will Smurf walk? He's heading back to base. He's a little bit undecided.
Yeah, he's walking.
He's walking, okay.
He's walking. I like that play because you have to now anticipate when the equalizer is back up. You have to anticipate the Rumble teleport. And at this point, if Smurf can't make that fight, he realistically can't push down the tower without Rift Herald. Fiora with Rift Herald is one of the most scary things I think I can think of for a top lane right now. If a Rift Herald goes on Smurf fairly early on, Rumble is going to have to just go and affect the map in other ways. Can't really afford to just sit there. But the StarLadder team right now are comfortable in where they are. Lex managed to regroup a bit of the CS lead that was building on White Lotus's side, mainly because Lex is just unable to get some of the range minions when the melee minions are still alive. You can see he will use the Q, just blast off the side ones, but has to forego some of the other CS just because it's too dangerous to farm.
The interesting thing is this game is made up of champion picks, which are probably the most aggressive we've seen today, and yet we haven't had first blood yet.
Yeah.
It's 8 minutes into the game. But, I mean, Saya tried to in the mid lane, but we should be getting kills very shortly. Like, all these champions are made literally just to blow up someone on the opposing team. And Lex started to, looking for an engage. He is level 6 over the 2 level 5s of White Lotus and Arce. And Demonco continuing to be annoying, continuing to be a pest as Brand. He's gone back yet. No, he has. He's gone for the second upgrade of the Frostfang. And White Lotus will carry on farm. So, basically, we're just playing Farmville at the moment.
Yeah, at this point, that is the case. I mean, that benefits Vayne. She's going to be fine. Smurf is potentially in trouble. Flash is the equalizer. So that is the end of that one. But that is the flash used now may even force the teleport, because Smurf is going to have that wave pushed in towards him in the top lane. Bottom lane, there is a trade.
And the line comes out. That will be the stun coming down onto White Lotus. He'll flash away. Lex taking a bit of punishment from the Pyroclasm back onto the minions. And gets that 21 gold. Hitler in the top lane though takes another turret shot. Fayak actually had the grand challenge on top of him from Smurf. They still want this kill, but they are too low. If either of them take a tower shot, they will go down. And that could be converted into a double kill for Smurf, which is not what they want.
Kassadin's roaming up. He can clean this up.
He's looking for Akira, putting down the damage, gets the W.
No teleports on either mid lane. It means Kassadin wins the roaming game every single time.
I mean, Saya didn't even try to go top. He went into the bottom side of the map and tried to contest just in case. CIS decides to go aggressive down there, but actually didn't in the end, so his roam did essentially nothing while Kira went into the top side. We're going to see that one once again. Smurf's heroic defense under the tower.
So what happens here? Just miscommunication. Thayak goes in, takes so much damage, and Helio finally goes in, doesn't quite follow up. Miscommunication all the way around there from the Latam team, and they know at that point they can't really afford to go back in. So nice play by Smurf to just hold this composure, but that was mainly just Latam not being on the same page.
Yeah, Fayak didn't even stick around. He was like, see you later, mate. This is now you. Helio was taken down by Kira. Majka putting down some wards, and this will be the dragon attempt by CIS, but Latam, they're completely blind to this, and this will be the first dragon of the game going down. Not super significant as the game goes on, but still is a nice advantage to have.
And you can see the difference in communication here. The orchestrated play bottom lane by the StarLadder team and the whole top lane compared to the Latam team, who these are from different teams. We talked about the StarLadder being 4 members from Hard Random, or previous Hard Random. So Arce goes in.
Demonco taking a lot of damage. We'll have to flash away. The crit coming into Lex. That will be the kill from Fayak onto Demonco, evening up the scoreboard real quick. And Static Ship has been the first item from White Lotus, so they will be pushing down this turret.
Is he going for it?
I hope so.
Is it going to be the
We have
build?
no indication just yet, as he hasn't gotten any other components, but after taking this turret, he should have enough to go back to base. We'll see. There's still time.
There is still time for the rapid fire cannon Static Ship. I believe in the build pulse. I look forward to seeing it, which could be the point at which, for once, Vayne is actually a valid AD carry in the early game, or at least mid-game that we're getting into. We're about 12 minutes into this one. One of the first towers is about to go down in the bottom lane as well. So Latam's still hanging on here. But the Star Ladder team in that bottom lane, that has really been one of the only issues so far in this game. And I feel that maybe is a little bit harsh. But they picked themselves a very non-standard and a difficult-to-play bottom lane. Short-range AD carry with a funky reload mechanic that can't farm as easily as he used to. And then an off-meta support that likes to deal a lot of damage, but against an Alistar and can't. It's a weird one. They kind of picked themselves into a corner, but it hasn't gone too badly for them just yet.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it. I just didn't know the lane was just gonna completely collapse, but they took the tower in the bottom lane. That's now easy.
I mean, the theory behind it is they do have a fair amount of burst when you look at the damage that comes from a Brand and a Graves, if you can get the explosion off the wall. But the Latam team just haven't really been in the position to have that happen, because every single time there's been an engage, it's either been from an Evelynn gank or a Flash Pulverize coming in the middle of the lane. And that is the key thing, is if you can't get that instant explosion coming from Graves, you just walk away. You get out of the T and you don't take the follow-up damage.
So that's that lane in a nutshell. Like, Demonco, literally, their engage potential is so conditional and situational, where he has to land the stun for them to follow up, otherwise nothing happens at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, still they held their own, which is fine, but we just need to see what the Graves can do throughout the rest of the game, because it's really reliant on someone messing up from Latam. And Arce, speaking of that, Saya over the wall immediately with the exhaust coming through. Smurf will be heading back to tower, took a bunch of damage, but the riposte blocked most of it. Lex now coming in and heading towards this wall. He will be doing a bunch of damage with the end of the line. Meanwhile, coming back into the fight will be Saya on that Riven. Kira now turning around, will have to use his ultimate to get away. The Rift Walk immediately finds Helior though, and he is going to town onto Lex and also Kira. A 3-0 over to the Latam team.
The Star Ladder team just do not have the point in the game where they have enough damage to clean up these fights on the Cassidy. Still need a little bit more time before they can do that, and the Latam team have a fair amount of damage with this Riven, with this Rumble who came in to clean up the tail end of the fight, but it was a weird position because Vayne came down through the jungle, and Arce took enough time from the Star Ladder team to just force the fight to go longer and longer, and more people from Latam just ended up joining, and that was the way they were taking it down. That went to Evelynn. They're taking the Rift Herald. It's not the worst thing in the world to have it on the jungler, but it's certainly less optimal than somebody who's going to sit in the solo lane. This was the beginning of the fight, so Arce takes a lot of time here to actually even drop low. Great riposte, by the way, from Smurf, otherwise he was 100% dead. At this point, Lex, look, he's trying to get in and deal damage, but he gets pulverized. Again, it's a short-range AD carry into an Alistar. You will get hit by that, and the rest of the Latam team just come in to clean up.
Gotta say that the damage was juggled so well by the Latam team, by the way. Like, as they all split, literally, Arce tanked so much damage as the Star team believed they had the pick there. But, I mean, Alistar's always going to be Alistar. He's always going to have the unbreakable will. Lex clearing out these minions here. So, that was just a bit of a misplay. And just believing they had a little more than they had.
The other side of that is using Grand Challenge on an Alistar. I mean, yes, you get increased damage from hitting the vitals. The thing about that is if you don't get the kill, Alistar is obviously one of the more difficult champions to kill. You don't get the heal, you can't stay in the fight. So it is risky making a play like that, to go onto a tank with the Grand Challenge if you aren't 100% sure you can kill them. And that is what happened there, and Star Ladder's just kind of team fight fell apart. As soon as Smurf had to back away, it's a massive amount of damage, not in the fight.
If you rewind as well and had the Grand Challenge on either Saya or Helior in that fight, would have been way different.
Yeah.
Literally would have been enough damage to make that happen. Demonco drops low, the immediate engage, and he just disappears off the map. Smurf comes into the fight, teleports in, but just a couple seconds too late. I gotta say, from the top lane, remember now that the teleport is half a second slower. It's now up to 4 seconds, and that can throw off the top lanes just a little. And the ultimate comes in, the equalizer comes out, and that's so much damage. The first kill goes onto Smurf, and the rest of CIS are having to run back into their base even. It's 17 minutes, and Latam are just pushing into the top lane.
You know what? I want to go back in time to Champ Select. First pick, Alistar. I wasn't sold on it. I am now. Arce's Alistar. is on point this game. All of the dives are landing, the flash pulverizers are landing on multiple people, and it's clearly a valuable first pick here for the Latam team. I actually think it's something you have to start kind of thinking about. Do we want them having this dive potential with a team like this? Because if you are making those proactive plays, if you were continuing to dive turrets, then you can snowball a game pretty effectively. The problem is we have seen every single game today start this way and get stalled out just through needless fighting sometimes.
We'll see if Latam will correct some of those mistakes that have been made so far. Fire! The damage coming in from Kira. He wants blood. He has the Rod of Ages as well.
And it's these kind of plays that stall the game. Thyak taking a random route, going over a catwalk that, yes, they had a ward on the catwalk, but around the top side of that jungle, you didn't have anything. There was nothing to spot anybody coming over from Wolves, and that means the Starladder team now are looking for their second dragon in the game. Yes, it's only number 2, but again, it's slowing down the lead that Latam have.
Yeah, Dragon's going to reset real quick, but CIS should be able to get this. That goes down. But if Latam win this game, by the way, this will be the 4th game in a row Blue Side has won. Is this still a coincidence, Yamato Cannon? Still? I don't know. But Blue Side...
there was a lot of disdain in that.
It was such a bold comment, but...
almost like when we opened the day with the OPL casters talking about Soraka and jabbing at me for a little bit. I'm like, ha,
I haven't seen it yet.
Who's 100% pick or ban in this tournament now?
Soraka, boys. So then Kira deciding to recall in the middle of lane. Ballsy decision. The Wolf now be heading back. The Vision War continues, taking out that ping. However, the red was taken by White Lotus. And lo and behold, take a look at that build. Stress.
There we go.
It is complete.
I love it. All about the empowered auto attacks.
We mid-game now, boys. Seiya on Riven, Rumble, the mid-game power spike of the Vayne build. Fantastic.
I love it. It's great.
It is great.
Has
I've not what to say.
Yeah, I really want to see this in action. That's the thing. It's I love getting to see some Vayne, bit of Vayne spotting, but thus far there has been
no points.
Yeah,
at all for White Lotus. He's just too good.
Well, so far, he
just goes like just stays at 6 assists and goes like 0, 10, 6.
I hope so. Like, I want to see. That is some damage.
That is some damage.
That's some damage. Some meaning more than none, and a little bit short of a lot. But,
oh, Seiya going deep though onto Lex, jumps after him and picks up the kill at the cost of his own life. Probably worth it. Was a flashy play. We'll give him that. White Lotus almost caught out by the cocoon, but sidesteps just in time. Arcee taking a bit of damage in from Smurf as he comes in from the sidelines. Level 11 has that tier 2 ultimate. The Majke will have to head on back. Fayek jumps into the fray, but he should be going down here with Smurf. Jumps after him. He doesn't even get the kill. And he picks up that one. Helior now jumping onto Jamajke, and this will be a 5-for-1 over to Latam.
Great fight out of Latam again. The equalizer just cutting off the escape path right up to the base of the tower. And you can see White Lotus, as soon as he can get those empowered auto attacks off, there's a big spike of damage. Then the Silver Bolt proc comes through as well. Really nice play and a great adaptive build onto a Vayne. I really like seeing this kind of adaptation with the preseason.
Yeah, there's so much damage, that empowered auto as well, so long range. You can, if that comes up in the middle of your combo, it's just like you get your third proc. If it's at the start, you just start running after them. Like, it's just so good.
Rapid Fire Cannon is one of my favorite preseason items because there are so many dumb champions that it works on.
Yeah.
I mean, Twisted Fate is kind of one of the more standard ones now that we're seeing. You build on hit Twisted Fate. Oh, this was 522, by the way. I don't really think it's as effective on 523 with some of the changes we saw to Guinsoo's, but that's one champion I like it on.
Probably the most disgusting one.
I hope we haven't ruined solo queue. I think it was Rusty and some of the OPL guys that were telling us about Rengar, so I look forward to trying that out. But certainly on Vayne, that's an interesting one, where who normally is a short range AD carry, she becomes a normal range AD carry. Yeah. It's great.
And that makes her very strong. Yeah, but man, Rengar, that is literally the stuff of nightmares. I believe it goes up to 850 range, which is, for context, 8.5 Teemos.
How is that context false?
It is for me. I literally think in terms of Teemos.
That's because you're about the same size.
Well, yeah, but so are you.
I didn't say anything about me, but Kira has been caught.
silver bolts there. And these teams literally just going back, farming, and then they just go all in. Like, this is literally how this game is going.
It's how the last 4 games have been. Kira's going in.
Oh, White Lotus is dropping low. He'll get out of there, but meanwhile, Smurf is facing off against Saya. Gets the better of him in this one. The Grand Challenge heal comes out. He is not going down in a hurry. Helior, great ultimate. Will be able to pick up the kill there onto Lex. The answer is a yes. Picks up that one, still running for his life though. Smurf in the one-on-one with Fire. Fire comes out ahead, and Kira is looking to chase down this Rumble. This is, yeah, literally a lamb caught in the crosshairs of a very angry Kassadin. Mid lane though, Arce and White Lotus is taking down this turret, because why not? So I think net gain over to Latam.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, White Lotus didn't die, managed to kite back at the beginning of that fight, and that fight spanned all the way from mid lane up into top lane. The entire jungle was the battlefield for that fight. Very spread out, difficult to keep on top of everything that happened, but the key thing is, again, Helios' ultimate. Hitting like 3 people in an enclosed space in the jungle is just enough to decimate the Star Ladder team, or at least a lot of their health bars. You could see that Helio didn't have a Zhonya's Hourglass. Of course, that recipe price increased on 522 to a considerable amount. It's like 1100 right now, which when it was 500, you used to be like, great, got my components, I'll farm 2 waves, come back. This time he didn't have it yet. Was still waiting on that, and he actually probably would have gotten a triple kill had he had the Zhonyas. That was a big AP item change that you just see reflected in the gameplay.
And he has now picked up the Zhonyas,
yes.
So in the next fight we should be in better shape, for Kira at least. Actually haven't paid too much attention to the rest of the build so far in this game. Lex has picked up the Essence Druid, but pretty much the item of choice for kind of castery AD carries coming into this patch. Tracker's Knife as well, picked up by Damage Pick. Great for the early game, and kind of just a nice replacement in general to the Sightstone, so
yes.
you can actually just place down a couple of wards. I have the Equinox, new item, picked up by Arce in the bottom lane. And I have to also question how well the brand pick has been working out, because we've seen a bunch of damage being done. I would like to see the damage graphs out in this game as well. And also in lane it was okay, but he's now 0-5, usually being the one to die in these fights. Gonna shut up for that one for a second as the engage comes out. Once again, another fantastic ultimate coming in by Rumble, and that will disengage the fight just for now. Lex was the one taking the brunt of that damage. Now Latam will head back into this mid lane. CIS also just on the retreat. And the Riven ultimate does not do a lot of damage against people who are full health, but the Kassadin W will.
However, with the Rumble ultimate down, Latam have to be careful here. They can't really afford to take the fight unless, man, they chunk Dimonco's health out. Dimonco, by the way, has completed Frost Queen's Claim, which is an item that typically does not get completed for a very long time. Kira goes in!
He does get caught real quick, but he still has the Zhonyas. Remember, Dimonco has to flash away, otherwise he would have been dead meat for Latam, as they are looking for the chase. Riven's on the front lines here. And that's another summoner spell burn. Actually, a lot of summoners there. Ignite, Flash, Heal burn away from the Star Ladder team. And now Latam will return back onto Baron.
This brand support just isn't working. You've admitted defeat by picking up a Giant's Belt on top of it. Frost Queens was just used. They're going to try and engage.
Oh, Helio just caught in enemy lines, and now Kira jumps in as well, but he has gone into the Zhonya's. Smurf jumping into the back lines. He'll have to flash away as well. Kira looking for the assassinate onto Alistair, but fortunately he has the ultimate up, but there's the Grand Challenge and the heal. Everyone from the Star Ladder team will pile into the heal just to allow them to be a little bit healthier for this chase. Dimonco looking for the stun. The jump back in from Saya does not quite connect onto the right target. Wind Slash comes out, but a first kill onto Vayne. A shutdown comes out, and this has quickly turned into a bloodbath. And CIS come out dominatingly ahead. 5-1 in that trade, and Helio just caught with his pants down.
It's again another example of a team not being prepared to fight. The Rumble ultimate was still not available at the onset of that fight. They turned back to the Baron buff thinking they've deterred the Star Ladder team for just enough, and the Latam team, why all in the Baron there? Why go for that? Because at this point, you know you're significantly far ahead. You know that you have the lead. You've got the extra damage. Why give them the opportunity to get kills onto the Kassadin? Very strange. And what was Helio doing up on the platform in the jungle? I'm a little bit surprised. He died before he even managed to get his Zhonyas off, so he was just way caught out.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think he was trying to get vision, maybe deep vision by himself, but as a priority pick and Rumble coming into these fights, you need to be in the back lines. Sacrifice Arce for all they care, really. I mean, Arce is usually fine. He had his ultimate still available, so he would have been good to go. But still, we'll see what happens in this next fight. Dragon is still up, remember. And the first two have gone over to CIS. This Scuttle Crab will go down, and the teams are preparing for another fight once again.
Damonko is going to utilize that giant spell going towards a Raleig's Crystal Scepter, which is standard, but giant spell first was basically saying, well, I don't do damage, so I'm going to continue to not do damage, and then I'll get damage with the needlessly large rod, and just hope I can burn enough people to enough and land those stuns. He is only level 10 though. He is hurting quite a lot. Alistair level 12 right now. And that pretty much the position results in a dragon going to Latam. That is the first dragon of the game. It's going to slow down the ability for Starladder to look for a 5-dragon spike, which we saw in our last game pretty much turn things on its head.
Yes. I mean, that game was literally just rotating all over the place. Like, you couldn't really just tell who was going to win that game until that smite came out. Fantastic steal coming in. But Damashke will be the only one clearing out the Baron wards. Taking the Scuttler is also quite a big deal, because the fight could erupt at any moment around this area. I'd like to talk a little bit about trinkets as well, because just in general, the blue trinket right now is really quite good. Places down a ward at the target location from long range. Doesn't disappear until attacked as well, so literally infinite if no one catches the ward sighting. So super good. We're seeing most teams pick up 2. In this game, we're only seeing 1 coming in from Starladder team. Smurf potentially caught out here. Arce on the front lines trying to get in range as the Iron Solari coming out, but it's not quite enough. 2 kills over to the Latam team. Just in a pick, Smurf and Damonko, quite a big deal heading into this fight. Kira will try to turn around, get an exit kill. Kira have to jump away, still has the Zhonya's Hourglass, but does not want to go into Zhonya's right here. Elise may be going down, and that Spider does get fried, and the shutdown goes over to White Lotus.
There's so much damage behind the Latam team. Oh!
Going back in once again, Fayak did not even go down, and Lex, yeah, he's got burst, but White Lotus had even more. Triple kill coming down, the triple item AD carry, 5-1 and 11. That build is definitely paying off.
I mean, I can see what they were trying to do there, but they're just 2 people, 2 squishy champions at that point, trying to go aggressive onto 5. Not gonna happen. That's the Baron going over to, Latam team. And, you know, you were talking a little bit about trinkets, and that was actually something that I'd be really interested to see different team dynamics. In some of the Chinese tournaments, we actually saw 4 blue trinkets and 1 red trinket, which I think is a little overkill. I think we're going to start to see the progression of probably 3-2 when it comes to red trinkets and blue trinkets, or 1-2-2 with 1 yellow trinket mixed in there. And the reason I think that is, it's highly dependent on what your jungler has gone for. Do you have trackers? Do you have sightstone? If you don't have an option for another ward, that's when the number of yellow trinkets goes up, because there are no green wards to be purchased anymore. And that is where I think we're going to see the biggest disparity, is it's highly jungler dependent.
Okay, we'll see if that theory rings true, as we have a lot of games to go. This is only day 1 of the IWCA. Still have another 3 days to go after this one. Still a bunch of games today as well. The 1v1 tournament will resume later. And CIS are just hunkering down in their base, just trying to wait for the oncoming storm, which is Vayne, which is dealing a lot of damage right now. Also has a quick silver sash, so it's going to be so hard to pin down.
I mean, Latam have problems pushing up to the turret unless they dive, which is kind of risky. Rumble comes out, there goes the turret. That's enough to push through. That is the play that they needed, but now they've got to get this inhibitor and back away.
Yeah, the turret is broken, the inhibitor goes down. This will be enough for Latam for now. They'll back off. Do have that Baron buff and will rotate towards the mid lane. But they can siege those turrets fairly effectively. Okay, you have a Vayne, and before this patch, usually you say, well, Vayne isn't able to siege very well, but when she has rapid fire cannon, actually sieges fairly well.
And when she has Baron minions. Kind of like the flowchart for this whole sieging situation for Latam is, do we have Rumble ult? And Alistair ult, kind of in with that. Do we have Baron buff? If any of these, or both, are yes, siege and dive. If not, don't do it, back away, prepare for other objectives. That's pretty much the Latam flowchart. Yeah, the flowchart. But Theak steps up, not too much damage put onto him. Kira, that was not worth for that trade.
That was not a lot of damage. I will say that much. Doesn't have a Void Staff yet, doesn't even have the Death Cap, so the amount of AP he has right now is not a whole lot. Not usually seeing a lot of Rod of Ages either, just because of the length of games, but we've seen the games today going fairly long, or at least long enough for them to stack up and be really valuable. Helior just gets CC'd up here. Fayak from the sidelines though, looking for the flank. Arce on the front lines, has the ultimate available. Fayak has the grand challenge on top of him, and Smurf wants him, but he's instantly exhausted, down and taken out. Arce still right there, tanking up for his team. Helior jumps forwards onto Damonko. Not sure if the flash is worth it for the support, but Seiya, CC'd underneath this turret, will be jumping away, cleanses out of that one, and the repel comes up. Damashka still alive, but Kira needs to try and get out of here. He goes down though to Fayak, and man, Starladder, they are just bleeding out in this game. The two big carries are down.
Latam are looking to push in for the win. Another double knockup by Arce. They're actually going to pull back by the looks of it, play it a little bit more conservatively, perhaps than they need to. I mean, okay, Smurf is up soon. Pinkward stays. Ah, well, I mean, it's a risky one. The rest of your team are recalling. You don't want to
is there any reason to try and finish right now? I mean,
no.
it would be ending the game, but if there is the slightest chance of it going wrong, then why not just back away? The result is going to be the same regardless of when they fight again.
Perhaps. I feel like with a pick, they probably could have looked for more. They are
I think so too.
So far ahead that it's a possibility. I want to pick up on something, talking about Rod of Ages, actually, that I actually agree with Yamato on, something he's been talking a lot. The AP item reshuffle on preseason patch, where they all got kind of a cost increase to kind of compensate for the cost decrease and adjustments that came earlier. I actually feel like Rod of Ages is a pretty strong item right now when it comes to mid laners specifically, and not to the point where you just build it on everybody, but the champions that do use Rod of Ages are going to be very strong. I pretty much tie into Yamato's point on that. Like, we're going to see a lot of Kassadin, I feel like, on this patch.
Yeah, I mean, when it's fully stacked, it has crazy efficiency.
Yeah.
Like, not quite Quincy's levels of efficiency, but up there. Like, really, really good. But yeah, once you can get that stacked, it is pretty damn good. Mid lane, actually no Tiamat picked up from Riven. We actually do see kind of one or the other. You see like the Tiamat build or the Black Cleaver build, because you rack up stacks so quickly on multiple targets with all your broken wings. W, like there's so many ways to do that. But it does not allow you to get the animation cancels in from some of the combos, which is a little bit annoying, but still, it's fine as like more of a team fighty build.
I'm still hesitant on this Graves. In the AD carry role, Starladder are going to look to set up a pick. They only hit Arce with the stun, so that is not the target you want. That's an Alistair. He's just going to throw on Unbreakable and just kind of just stand there.
I feel like there's been a lot of focus actually from the CIS team onto the Alistair in this game. Smurf was going one-on-one against Fayak, did not get the better of him in this duel. Fayak jumping onto Damashka, he will be jumping away. There comes the Rumble ultimate once again, just zones them away back into their tower. Kira jumps in, tries to get the kill onto White Lotus, doesn't quite get it. The shutdown comes in onto Seiya though, and this is looking like a better fight coming in for the CIS team. And they should be able to pick up Helior as he comes out of that Zonias, and then indeed they do. A 2-for-2 is good enough for now, but they have to play tower defense because all of these minions are doing so much damage to that tower.
Yeah, they're going to clear them out though before it actually takes it. Very weird choice in this situation. I mean, the Latam team consciously backed away about 2 minutes ago in a position where there were fewer people there from the Starladder team to actually then get caught up in a fight when the equalizer didn't quite land flush. Yes, it zoned away, but Helior just didn't do much damage with the ultimate, so they really are relying on that to keep them safe. Well, I say keep them safe by killing the enemy. Since best defense is a good offense.
I mean, that's the composition right here. Like, it's literally just go in, press some buttons, hope it works out. That's basically League of Legends, actually.
I was gonna say that actually.
Go and press some buttons.
Just press buttons. It's great. Like, any buttons. But at this point, Starladder, they're hanging on. We're seeing a lot of these games get stalled out. And again, this is something that I expect out of some of the All-Star teams. It's just the communication when it comes to mid and late game shot calling is so difficult. I mean, you see LCS teams struggle with it.
Oh yeah, Bayek has found Lex though, will be going into his own Zhonya's. This is a member of this game who does not own Zhonya's. Smurf gonna go down actually. White Lotus jumps over the wall, finds himself a double, looking for the triple. He gets that one. That's another kill going up to Seiya. And just in the blink of an eye, that actually could just be game. Arcee is just gonna start headbutting away Kira. Nice rift walk. It doesn't really matter because I'm just gonna keep headbutting you. And actually there's no minions, so this is gonna maybe take a little bit. But as soon as those minions flood in, this could be game.
I mean, that's just decisive calling in the middle lane right there. They knew that White Lotus was exceptionally strong. Kira's trying to hold on with the minions pulling them around, but that is going to be the game ending here. Kira's going to hold on, gets a kill for himself, but it's not enough to keep StarLadder in this game.
Valiant attempt, but that 5-1 will seal the deal, going over to the Latam team, securing their first win.
I like what their comp was showing us. I like it. A lot of fighting when it, well, a lot of strength in fighting. If you're going to take random scrappy fights, bring a rumble.
Yeah.
Realistically, bring a rumble. The Fiora wasn't enough to shut him out in the early game. Rumble manages to go huge the entire game, and he wasn't the only one going huge. I mean, credit to the bottom lane duo from Latam. I actually think they're a force to be reckoned with looking at that. Alistair and the Vayne. I mean, Alistair 0-1-26, Vayne 8-1-15. A lot of those were picked up at the end, but still, a great performance overall.
Yeah, in the words of Huni, I love it. Riven and Rumble as well is the composition.
This is the Huni comp.
Yeah, it just needs a Hecarim in there. What else?
A lot of things, but
as well.
what it did have was the ability to fight and take the fight to StarLadder again and again. And as much as they were trying to clean up with the Kassadin, I feel like they were hamstrung by the Brand and Graves a significant amount. I mean, the Brand, yes, they were getting stuns. Yes, Graves was able to do damage, but I felt like that lane pairing fell so far behind very early on that it was so difficult to recover.
Yeah, we were a little confused by that lane, but you also have to remember that Alistair was that first pick.
Yeah,
and Alistair did so much work in this game. As you
was.
mentioned, just 1 death and 26 assists was absolutely insane. But that's enough from us. We're going to send it over to the Alistair.